What's good, peeps? What is good? I know what you're thinking. Where the is the green chair? The green chair is no longer here, people. It's finally made its way to the studio. I point because the studio is that way. It's gone. I dropped it there yesterday. And yeah. So we have the brown chair. Doesn't have the same ring to it, does it? The brown chair is with us for another, 10 days or so. Had to be done. I did a little mini doc yesterday, so we needed the green chair in the studio to complete the look. And yeah, it's gone. And feels quite sad, to be honest, because the green chair will probably never, ever be in this front room again. So yeah, the green chair's gone, peeps. But don't worry, the brown chair. Funny thing is, yeah, this is the chair I sit on, like, most days. This is my comfortable chair. The green chair actually isn't that comfortable. But yeah, so for another week or so, we have the brown chair. For a quick update with regards to the studio, it's just me, you know. I keep changing my mind on things. Like, I keep changing my mind on a lot of things. Although I did take someone there yesterday, and they were very impressed with it, how it looks. So that kind of made me feel like, okay, you know, I've made a few right decisions. But yeah, one of the big things, sorry, that I've changed my mind on, is I was going to have cameras just on tripods, right? But now I'm not. I'm having cameras fixed in positions, just so I just feel like it looks better. So yeah, that's little things like that, and that's the reason there is this delay. Apologies, but if the green chair is over there, it means we're getting closer. So stick with me, people, stick with me. All right, I feel like a lot has happened since I made a video a few days ago. That rant I made. This video, I think, is more celebrating boxing. I think a lot of good things have happened in the last couple of days. I think one of the big things is Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter, which is done now, isn't it? I think it's done for November. I was speaking to Tony Bellew, name drop, and although it's a great fight, he thinks Terence Crawford like runs through Shawn Porter. He actually thinks that Terence Crawford could be the first person to potentially stop Shawn Porter, or at least make it really, really wide on the scorecards. I think he'll make it really, really wide on the scorecards. Shawn Porter's a dog, and Shawn Porter gives everyone good work. He really does. Even in the losses to Kell Brook, to Errol Spence, I mean, the close fights. Wasn't Kell Brook a majority decision, Errol Spence a split decision? And I remember in the lead up to that Errol Spence fight, I was saying Shawn is going to cause Errol problems. And a lot of people are like, no. This time, though, I think this is where Terence Crawford shows how good he is. I think he really does. Because in my head, Shawn is still a top 5 welterweight. I think Terence is the best welterweight in the world. But I get it if people say Errol, because Errol's resume is a lot thicker. And I think Terence is going to show that he is just that damn good when he fights Shawn Porter. And this is not discrediting Shawn, because Shawn's had a fucking amazing career. Like, literally, he has fought everyone. I even remember when bloody Adrian Broner tried to drain him to 145 pounds and he beat him. He's a great fighter. I just think Terence right now desperately needs this win. And he not just the W. Like, the W's not enough here. He needs a statement win. He really does need a statement win. And I'm praying to God that Errol Spence's injury isn't like career threatening, apologies, that they can then get that fight on at the start of, or maybe around March, April next year. This fight is in conjunction, right, with Top Rank and PBC. So there's now already a working relationship with PBC because of this fight. So it should be easier to make the Errol fight. But yeah, I think Terence Crawford's going to put on a show. I hope that anyway, because Terence Crawford, as you guys probably know, having watched the channel for as long as you've watched it, Terence Crawford's my favourite fighter. He really is. I love everything about him. I wish he could show more of the personality that we see behind closed doors a bit. Like, when you see him appear on not traditional broadcast media, he's really funny, really aggressive. But once he kind of does interviews with like ESPN and does sit-down interviews, he's very dull and boring. Remember the one he did with, I think it was Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, him and Amir Khan, and it was just so boring. I'm like, come on, Terence, man, show them your personality. And I think he will this time around. I really do. Another fight that hasn't been, I don't think it's been 100% confirmed, but I think it will be in the next couple of days, is DILLIAN WHYTE versus OTTO WALLIN. Sold. I'm happy with that. I really am. There was a lot of talk about Dillian White versus Chris Arreola. Now, according to those in the know, those that know a bit more than I do about this situation, they couldn't agree terms with Arreola. They couldn't agree terms with each other. I don't know if it's that. I think it's the reaction, because it started to kind of get leaked a little bit that it's going to be Arreola, and the reaction was bad. It was bad. I mean, you're fighting a 41-year-old who, at best, is a part-time boxer who is coming off a loss. That ain't going to run with a lot of people. OTTO WALLIN will run. OTTO WALLIN's solid. Obviously, we will remember him, or the casuals will remember him from the Tyson Fury performance, but he's had Dominic Breazeale after that and won that fight. So he's a good top 20 fighter for me. Like, I don't think there are 19 other fighters that beat OTTO WALLIN. I really don't. I think he's a solid pro. And I like this. I like the matchup. I really do. And I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be an action-packed fight. I mean, again, if you just watch the Tyson Fury OTTO WALLIN will stand in the pocket and trade. He will go for it, and so will Dillian White. Dillian White's not going to fight on the back foot with OTTO WALLIN. He's not going to. He's going to want to come and do what Dillian White does, which is inflict a lot of damage. Now, I actually don't know where this fight's going to be. I don't know if this fight's on DAZN or this fight's on Sky. If this fight's on Sky Sports, there's a bit of a problem here, because it might be, look, Dillian White's a pay-per-view fighter. Right? Or he's lost, I don't know how many fights have been on pay-per-view. I don't know if this is a pay-per-view fight. I don't. And I hate to get into this stuff, but I think it's important. I don't know if it's a pay-per-view fight. It's a bit more than a Saturday fight, right? So the card will be decent as well. It's probably going to have Babbage on it, because obviously it might even have Fabio Wardley. So it's a bit more than your Saturday night fight card. But I don't know if it's a pay-per-view fight. The reason I say that, because if it isn't on Sky, then it'll be on DAZN, and DAZN would love to have it. And then it comes as part of the package, right? It's not going to be a pay-per-view on DAZN. It will be part of the $7.99 a month they charge. So if I'm DAZN, I'm really making a big kind of like, we want this fight. We've got to get this fight, you know. But I don't know the relationship with Dillian White and Sky. I'm unsure as to what is going on. I don't know how many. Has he got a couple of fights left on the contract? I've absolutely no idea. But again, if it's on Sky, this isn't pay-per-view for me, but it will be pay-per-view. If it's on DAZN, then, you know, you get it as part of your $9.99. Sorry, your $7.99. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this fight lands. It will be. I was a bit shocked when I saw that Josh Kelly had signed with Wasserman and Sky. Not just Josh Kelly, it was quite a few of them, right? There was Josh Kelly, there was Nathan Gorman, a couple others as well. I wonder what's happened there, because it looks like he got an offer from Matchroom, and I guess in turn that means DAZN, but he's chose to go to the Wasserman and Sky Sports route. Not sure why. It'd be interesting to know if it's financial, if it's just a case of he prefers to be on Sky because Sky have the Sky engine, right, to kind of push and promote his fights maybe a bit more than DAZN has right now. Not quite sure why he's made that decision, but if I'm Eddie, I'm slightly disappointed, because I still think there's a lot left with Josh. I really do, especially if he can make 147. I mean, then you've got the Conor Benn fight. It's there. It's you know, all you have to do is Josh has one kind of winnable fight, and then you can start selling it again. So it's kind of disappointing. And the Nathan Gorman one's maybe a bit disappointing as well. People might say, oh, Nathan Gorman ain't really that. But, you know, Eddie's got so many good upcoming heavyweights, whether or not they're good because they're exciting like Babbage, or good where I think they could maybe get to European level like a Fabio Wardley. And I think Nathan Gorman's almost a perfect opponent for either of those two guys. So, yeah, it's almost weird to see them go there. Because, again, if you're DAZN in your Matchroom, you want everyone. You want it because their dream, I'm guessing, would be to put on a show every single week over here. That would be the dream, right? You need a lot of fighters to do that. Good fighters, fighters that people know. And whether or not we think Kelly and Gorman are good or going to be very, very good, people know them. You put them on fight cards, people will tune in because people know them. So, yeah, it kind of shocks me a little bit. All right, let's have a look at what stories are trending. 2 seconds. Tyson Fury, I don't think I'll ever lose a fight. Nobody out there to beat me. You should have that mentality. He really should. Tyson Fury, we know when he's on his A game, it is quite difficult to beat. I still would never get over the fact of him getting up in the 12th round like that against Wilder the first time round. The way in which he got up, I still find incredible. Mentally, when he's on it mentally, very difficult to beat. Very, very difficult. And you do look at the heavyweights out there now. Obviously, look, there is Wilder, there is AJ, there is Hrgovic, there is Joe Joyce. I mean, there are some good guys that will cause him some massive, massive problems. Usyk, if Usyk gets past AJ. So it's no given, but we'll see, man. Look, we'll see. Remember, he had his little hit list, didn't he? Let's see what he really does. Let's see. I mean, October 9th is coming. It's coming very, very fast. Wilder looks in great shape, by the way, as well. Now, I don't think it would shock many if Wilder ices Fury. It wouldn't, like, if I don't watch the fight, and obviously I will, and I wake up and, oh, Wilder's knocked out Fury in the 7th, that's a lie. I'd be shocked, but it wouldn't be like, oh my God, this is an upset. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a dangerous fight, man. It really is a dangerous fight. Munguia versus Rosado, a middleweight fight eyed for late October. Okay, I like it. I mean, they both fought on the same card recently. Rosado had that KO. Remember that KO? I can't remember the guy's name. I'm going to butcher it. But Munguia fought as well. Rosado called out Munguia. Munguia called out Rosado. So it makes sense. Rosado is our Derek Chisora, isn't he? Where, I mean, this guy has got double-digit losses, but it doesn't matter because he's always in good fights. Similar to Chisora, who's just signed a deal with 258 Management, AJ's team. I like the fight. Munguia should win, but Rosado's always dangerous. Like, Rosado, like, if you look at that record, yeah, you'd think, oh, you put him in with a guy that's up and coming. Rosado would ice your guy. Like, he's so dangerous for someone with that record. He is so dangerous, it's scary. But I think Munguia is just too fresh for him. And it might just be a bit too big as well. Munguia's really getting big, innit? How he made 154, I don't know, because I look at him and think this guy could go to 175 eventually. He's very, very thick. A bit here about Dillian White, OTTO WALLIN. Agreed terms for October 30th at the O2 Arena in London. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have a fight back at the O2. It's been a long time. It's been a long, long time since we've had anything of note in the O2. Again, let's hope it's a good undercard. I wait to see where this fight will land. Sky Sports or DAZN. I'm thinking DAZN. Because I remember seeing the fight poster and it said DAZN on it. But that could just be the global rights. We'll wait and see. Julian Williams is going to fight on the Fury Wilder undercard. Let me have a look. Is that still the same FA, Jagbar, all them man on it? Or has it changed a little bit? Let's have a quick look at the box, Rick. Okay, so we've still got the same ones. Helenius, Kalnaki, Ajagba, Frank Sanchez. Yeah, Julian Williams is on there, but TBA at the moment. You've got Jared Anderson, heavyweight, unbeaten. He takes on Tereshkin, who's also unbeaten. Who's this Vladimir Tereshkin fought, though? Has he fought anyone? Okay, he's deep. Couple of names on there. Francisco Silvins, he was unbeaten, but Silvins ain't really anyone. All right, what else have we got to talk about? Marcus Brown versus Beterbiev. Sign me up for that one. There was a purse bid. It has now been delayed. It's been granted an extension by the WBC until September 28th. I like the fight a lot. Let's see. Beterbiev gets hit, yeah. You look at most of Beterbiev's fights, he does get cracked. But then when he cracks you, adios. Adios. This is interesting. Jake Paul is now the advisor to Amanda Serrano. He says now that he's involved in negotiations for Katie Taylor fight. I mean, good luck. I mean, Amanda Serrano, I think she come out and said that the money she made on her recent fight was the most she's ever made in her career on a single fight. And Jake Paul done that for her, right? Jake Paul done it. So, I don't know. I'm guessing Lou DiBella will still be a part of it, but Jake Paul, he's smarter than we give him credit for. Put it that way. I mean, very, very smart. This guy's not silly when it comes to signing contracts and negotiating deals. He knows what he's doing. And I kind of laugh at people that think he's an idiot and he's dumb. He's not. Both brothers are very, very intelligent people. So look, if he knows what money's available in the kitty, he probably can get Serrano a bit more for the fight against Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor fight with Serrano is a massive fight. It's bigger than anything else out there in female boxing. It's bigger than Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall. It's bigger than all these fights. It really is. I think Taylor versus Cecilia Brakus would have been massive, but obviously McCaskill ended that hope. So I think it is the biggest fight. So Amanda Serrano should get paid. Let's see if Jake Paul can get her a couple more. I'm about to say a couple more M's. I don't think she's going to get one M, but let's see if we can get her a bit more anyway. What else have we got here? This is interesting. Teofimo, and I think I touched on it before, but he's adamant that he's not fighting Lopez. So Loma. Teofimo Lopez. Lomachenko fighting my leftovers, trying to redeem himself. No rematch. Obviously, he fought, I'm going to forget the guy's name really bad, but Loma fought, who Teofimo fought 2 or 3 fights ago, and now there's obviously Loma versus Richard Comey. He really doesn't want to fight Loma next. At all, by the way. He's saying that Loma wouldn't have given him a rematch. Well, of course Loma wouldn't have given you a rematch. Loma was the champion. I feel like, I'm shocked that there was no rematch clause put in there, if I'm honest with you. I'm shocked. Was it an arrogant thing from Loma not to put a rematch clause in there? Because regardless of who you're fighting, whether or not you think it's a wash and it's going to be easy work, you've got to put a rematch clause in there. And I'm guessing Bob Arum, Loma and his team just didn't do it. Look, I've said, look, if Teofimo Lopez after Cambosos, who's not an easy fight for Lopez, by the way, if he's going to fight all the other names out there, then fine. If he's maybe even going to jump to 140 and fight Josh Taylor, fine. If he's going to do something crazy and go to 147 and fight someone of note, fine. But if you're not, then Loma's the biggest fight out there for you. So, like, fight him, man. I don't understand. Fight him. Wilder warns that Fury will suffer the consequences if he withdraws again. There's a lot of talk about that, and no one, you're just not sure, are you? I don't think Fury will withdraw. I mean, I've seen a couple of videos and photos of Fury recently. He's looking like he's now sort of switched on. He's there mentally. He looks like he's in good shape as well. There have been some rumours and sparring rumours that he's been hurt by sparring partners. I mean, you're gonna get fucking hurt if you're coming up against big heavyweights. But I think he's mentally ready for this, and I think he'll beat Wilder again. I really do. But let's just hope it happens. I'm still like, if you had asked me about 3-4 weeks ago, I'm like 50-50. You know, now I'm more 80-20. It happens, but that's still not even 100, and it should be 100. You kind of just feel, because of the way in which the last fight kind of just ended, or sorry, like the COVID issue, you just hope that there's no bullshit. You really do. And if there is, and I hope there isn't, if there is though, you've got to let the card proceed. You've got to like just upgrade F.A. Jagba to Frank Sanchez's main event, Helena's Kalnaki. You've got to let all the fights happen. You can't let those guys suffer again as well. Some bullshit. You can't let them. Anything else before we pack? I can't even pronounce this, but Canelo versus Plant. Winner will receive WBC Teofimo belt. Fuck off. Nonsense. I wonder with Chisora signing a deal with 258, like I don't know. I wonder what's next for Chisora, by the way. Is that now the people that are going to get him the Parker fight? Like, what? I wonder what is next for Derek Chisora. I'm trying to think, like, I mean, does he have to kind of roll the dice with someone again? Like someone where he's a massive underdog and then do it? Like, I mean, does he need another Usyk-like fight, or is he going to come back and take a winnable fight and then go again? I wonder. We'll see what he does, and we'll see what 258 can do for him as well. Again, he's another one. I don't know if he's still with Sky or have the Zone tried to get him. I have no idea what's going on at all. Just to confirm, the Crawford-Porter fight is November 20th. So we've got a good little run of fights here. We really have. Obviously, we've got AJ Usyk next week, Saturday. Madness. Ak and Barak are flying over from America to do the DAZN boxing show with me. Ak's actually already here. Barak should be flying over next, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. K Abdo's flying over as well. So remember, like, this is a Sky event, so DAZN are doing the global thing for it. So it's K Abdo, Roy Jones Jr., Obviously, I'll be part of it. Axe part of it. Barak's part of it. Tony Bellu's part of it. Chris Lloyd's part of it. So obviously there is no Laura Woods or Maya Jama or anything like that. Sam Egginton. I spoke to Sam on Tuesday about his fight against Jitu. Is it Jitu? It's funny because, like, first of all, look, 160 is not his weight. Like 154 is his weight. But he did say that he underestimated the kid. The kid's obviously from, I think he was a footballer back in the day. But Sam wants a big one. I actually asked Sam about Tim Tszyu. I said, look, you know, Tim Tszyu versus Tony Harrison's fallen off. Would you like to kind of fight Tim Tszyu? And he says he hasn't really watched Tim Tszyu. I think what he does want to do, I think he just wants to go to America and have that big one, that big fight. The hope is that Charlo vacates all these belts and then people then pick him up because Charlo's obviously getting a bit too big for the weight class, I think. So that's the hope. We'll see. We'll see what he can do. What's this? Shane Mosley, we'll end on this one, I guess. Shane Mosley reveals he bet $1 million on himself to beat Canelo in 2012, lost when his purse was $600,000. And you wonder why you're broke. Is he broke? I think he is, right? His wife took pretty much everything, didn't she? She even took his belts. Do you remember that? Remember that? Do you remember that story? His wife took his belts. Think about that for a second. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. His wife took his belts, though. That's no lie. Like, do your research. Yeah, we got loads of fights coming up, man. I'm really excited about the next sort of 2-3 months. Obviously, Shakur Stevenson versus Jamel Herring, or should I say Jamel Herring versus Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Kambosos. We have Lomachenko versus Richard Comey. Nothing for Javonte Davis yet, or even Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney. I haven't really heard anything about those guys yet, although there is a lot of talk about Ryan Garcia versus Jojo Diaz. Over here, let's not forget we've got Anthony Fowler, Liam Smith, and that card, which is a good card as well. Ted Cheeseman versus Williamson's on that card. Troy Williamson, who's got that good win over Kieran Smith, AJ Usyk, Fury Wilder. I'm happy. Crawford, Porter, not bad. I'll take that. I mean, it gives us a lot of bullshit, but that's a good one. Peace.